Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Joe Herman, and we're here with this 2017 Viewers' Choice Online Marching Series that's being webcast from the Central States Marching Festival in Manhattan, Kansas, here on the campus of Kansas State University. Well, it's a delight to be here, and joining me with this brief period here, this interview, believe it or not, is a gentleman who's the Associate Director of Bands at the University of Tennessee. For some of you that may realize that it has just been recently that I've retired from Tennessee Tech University, and I had to go 1,000 miles in order to see Michael Stewart here in Manhattan. It's great to have you here, Mike.
Thank you very much, Joe. It's a pleasure to be here today.
You bet. Tell us about your trip. Did you have a good trip in?
Had a great trip, thank you. Everybody here at K-State has been absolutely unbelievable. Everything has been so well laid out and planned, and I actually have a brother and family that lives in Wichita, so I flew into Wichita about a day early and visited and drove up here this morning.
And so tell us about your judging. What are you judging today?
Starting off, I'm going to be working on music. So I'll be judging music, and then, as I understand it, we'll be rotating throughout the course of the day. And just a great setup to help the bands, especially at this part of the season where then we get to do a video critique, and really excited about just the process of it. And I think will be very helpful. But I'll be starting off on music this morning.
And, you know, for the listeners that are out there, when you're listening to music and determining the ratings and those kinds of comments that you can make, what kinds of things do you listen for?
Absolutely. Well, it's a great question. The first thing I always listen for as a judge is the same things I would listen for my own ensembles, whether it's the Pride of the Southland Marching Band of Tennessee or if it's any of my concert ensembles. I'm listening for tone production, intonation, articulation, technique, those types of basic concepts that every band director struggles with on a daily basis, and you know, focusing primarily on their tone. That's the first thing I'm really listening for. What kind of sound are they putting out?
Sure.
You know, are they using, you know, correct techniques? What is their timing, like rhythm, pulse? All of those basics. And then as the competition goes on or as their performance moves forward, at that point I'm able to give maybe some more specific details on specific concepts, ideas that will maybe help them out in particular sections, even particular measures of the piece.
Sure. And, you know, one of the things that I think we all do as adjudicators in this, and I know that Michael does this too, is that we listen for those things, we identify those things, and then we go through the process of trying to make recommendations as to how that they can make it even better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's one of the most important parts of this process, is to be able to not only recognize if there's a problem, but one thing I always do when I work with high school bands, middle school bands, is to try to give them ideas, something, maybe a new way of thinking about something, about how to fix these problems that we've identified. And hopefully a lot of times it's the same information, the same problems they've heard a million times. But sometimes it's just a different way about thinking about it, a different way of processing it. And with high school students of any age, sometimes it's just a different voice saying the same thing and thinking of it in a different way.
And now let's go back a few years.
Yep.
Before you got into the college ranks.
Yes, sir.
You were a high school band director too.
I was. It was, in fact, just north of Columbus, Ohio. I had done my degrees at Ohio State and had taught. Actually, we did grades 5 through 12, so we did it all. Taught music theory, had a jazz ensemble after school, did it all. And to me, I think that's probably been one of the greatest gifts I've had, because it gives me some sort of perspective. And to this day, I always make it a priority to go visit the schools, to be a part of that process, even just as an observer or as a visitor. So I think that's important and part of what I do.
Well, and I was just telling our big kahuna here behind the camera, Dave Knox with banddirector.com, I was just telling him about my experience in teaching secondary school, that the last 3 years where I taught at Dowling High School in West Des Moines, Iowa, that those 3 years were probably so deeply burned into my heart.
Yes.
I mean, if there was any job I ever missed, it was that job.
Yeah,
because of the wonderful students, the committed parents, and colleagues on a private school campus that was just wholly committed to the students and making that
absolutely happen. And the work that you see at these festivals, I mean, I wish the general public, I know the parents see it, I know the families, the kids see it, but the general public could see just how much time and effort goes into this, not just by the students, but for sure by the band directors. It's amazing the work that these directors are able to do in this amount of time and with these students.
Well, and the amount of time that they put in.
Absolutely, it's constant. It's
that they're doing these things. They're sharing time with their students and with their bands when in some cases they're not able to spend time with their families.
With their families,
And
absolutely.
but that's the job.
Absolutely. That's
know?
the job.
Now tell us about your job now.
Yeah, so I'm the associate director of bands at Tennessee. So I wear several different hats. Other than working with the Pride of the Southland band, basketball season is coming up around the corner, so we start that. We have a very busy athletic band program at Tennessee. And then I also conduct the symphonic band, which is the second ensemble there at UT.
Right.
I also have a music ed hat, so I do advising for
That's good.
undergrad students. I teach conducting. Sometimes I teach brass methods and marching band techniques on occasion. So it's a lot of different hats to wear there, but I love each one of them.
Yeah, and you've adjusted to Knoxville, and
We love Knoxville. This
Yeah.
is my 11th year there at Tennessee, and we love Knoxville, East Tennessee, and it's great. We love the weather there. The people are just amazing. We've really enjoyed it.
I still detect a Midwestern
Little
accent,
bit,
though.
a little bit.
You
But
know.
when I see my friends from Ohio, they every once in a while a y'all will slip out, and they are the first. They are the first to remind me of that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I remember when I first got to East Tennessee State University that I had students that were there that they told me that I talked funny.
Exactly.
Talk funny.
Talk funny.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
So it was great. Thanks so much for joining us, Michael.
Absolutely. Thank
Okay?
you. It's my pleasure.
Good to see you.
You too.
Okay.
You too. Thank you.